Good afternoon, I'm Gene Fowler, owner of Sentry Roofing.
And I'm Tim Fowler, a sales manager, and today we're going to be showing you a few things that you need to do to get ready for winter as far as your roof goes. First thing you do when you do a rooftop inspection, you're going to be looking at your roof. Recommend you have a notepad so you can write down any issues you find, and that you keep a camera handy. I use my phone, but any kind of camera will do, so that you can take pictures to show a professional and let them know what's going on with your rooftop.
Routine maintenance would involve what we have right here: leaves that collect on the rooftop, tree limbs, or other debris. You want to get that off, especially if you have internal drains. Leaves can gather around the drains, block water flow, and in the wintertime that'll freeze, and you literally can fill the roof up with water, and depending on the structure you have, it could compromise the building. Water is heavy, you want to get it off the roof, you need to get the roof clean before things freeze up.
So one of the first things you want to do, you notice we have a lot of leaves back here. We also have some larger pieces of debris, sticks and such. Recommend getting stuff like this off the roof. Make sure anything that you do to remove it, you do safely. Don't work near roof edges, and make sure that the person doing the work is properly trained to be on a roof and work safely in these kinds of situations.
One of the things you have to watch in the wintertime are slick surfaces. Slips and falls can be very dangerous, just falling straight down, or if you're on a sloped roof, you literally could go off the building. Be safe if you're on the rooftop, or hire a professional.
One of the items that we use when we're on the roof, especially if it gets cold in the wintertime and you have ice, we use special footwear to, they slip over the top of our shoes and they help keep us safe on ice. We also use this particular type because they have springs that wind around. These bite in, but they won't damage a roof surface. Never use any kind of footwear that has actual spikes or teeth, because they can cause damage to the roof surface when you're walking around.
Snow and ice removal is something that does have to happen from time to time, and it may sound simple, but we see it frequently. People get on the roof with a shovel that looks something like this. Metal, sharp edges, and they cut the roof and cause damage. You always want to use a plastic device to clean the roof, and be careful when you do it. Avoid roof damage if at all possible.
After you've checked for debris, you've cleaned drains, you also want to check the gutters for debris as well. Make sure those are clean and water is flowing properly through them. You want to check the other areas of the roof for deterioration. Ice buildup on the roof will cause leaks to be worse. One thing that we look at and we always check the caulking around curbs, around parapets. Make sure that the caulking looks good. When snow and ice builds up on this, you can end up with water trying to penetrate up here, which isn't as bad in the summertime when it rains and the water is going to gather only on the roof surface.
Other items to note are flashing details, penetrations of any kind, where anything is sitting on the roof to make sure it hasn't worn. If you know what you're looking for, you can also check the membrane for damage. It's kind of like hunting mushrooms. If you know what they look like, you can find them. And sometimes that's why it's best to have a professional come out and look. We do know what to look for.
Something else you want to look at, especially prepping for the winter, look at areas around you. If you have trees overhanging your roof, you have anything that might damage the roof in a high wind, or if there's ice buildup. One of the things that we see on a regular basis are cuts in the roof from big limbs falling out of trees in the wintertime or in windstorms. So pay attention to that, and if you need to, have a professional come in, trim back leaves, or get rid of extra debris that's on a roof. Something else that people like to do in the wintertime is decorate their buildings. They'll put inflatables up on roofs, they'll hang Christmas lights, things like that. If someone is doing that, make sure first off again that they know what they're doing, they're able to be up on the roof safely without any issues. But don't put any screws through your roof to hold lights on to add brackets. If you're adding lights on the edge of a building, use clips that can clip on without damaging the roof. And be careful putting any heavy weights to hold something down if you're going to hang it off the edge of the roof or put something on top of a building. That can damage the surface, and you don't want to add too much extra weight to a building. This is one of the things we're looking for in our rooftop inspection before winter. Small cracks like this may not let much water in. You might not notice a leak in the summertime. But in the wintertime with snow and ice sitting up here and the extra hydraulic pressure, small pinholes that are as part of these cracks will let a lot more water through and can cause damage. Another issue that you might find, pop screws or debris hitting the roof can cause small tears. Right here we have a small tear that probably in a normal rain isn't going to let much water into the roof because it's going to shed off, but again, snow and ice sitting up here, this is a pretty good cut. This can let a lot of water in, especially if you have water and ice damming in the wintertime. When you're doing the rooftop inspection, you don't want to just inspect the roof membrane and the caulking. You want to inspect everything on the roof. Skylights, rooftop units, curbs, parapet walls, everything. This particular skylight was doing well in the summertime when we did our inspection, but has since been hit by either a piece of debris or hail and has a large crack in it. You want to catch these in any inspection on the roof to make sure that you're not getting water in the building through sources other than the membrane. We highly recommend that if you have any issues or any concerns, that you definitely call a professional like Sentry Roofing to come out and inspect your roof before wintertime. We know what to look for, we can help you out, and we know how to do it safely. Again, this is Tim Fowler with Sentry Roofing. We appreciate you watching and hope this video helped you out.
Thank you. We'd love to be of service in any kind of roofing needs you may have.